Hello guys, it's John here. Today I'm doing another Bottleman unboxing. This time we have our first Bottleman from Bottleman God Cap, Dragurt G. So, yeah, here it is. So we have a new season, kinda, it's not like there's a new anime, but I guess it's kind of a new system of Bottleman. Again, somewhat, it's a weird technicality, man, I don't know what to say, but it's sort of like a DX2 type of system, so exciting regardless, but anyway. It seems to be kind of our new main Bottleman, I guess. Even though there's no anime or anything, I guess it seems like the main one. I mean, they're starting off with it, so exciting. Has the whole big cap thing. We'll be talking a lot more about that later on in the video, of course, once we have everything built and whatnot. But yeah, for now, this definitely looks really, really cool. Go ahead and open this up. Let's see. And also, yeah, they do have new box designs as well, which is pretty interesting. They're a bit more horizontal, I guess. But anyway, so everything just comes out. So here's kind of the whole parts trigger, the whole the big cap stuff right here. And we have some of the armor and the rest of the core right there. And all right, there we go. We have the cap. Well, caps, the head one and the shooting one, and then the stickers, which actually don't look bad at all. Nice. Okay. Yeah, they went back to the eyes. We didn't really have these type of eyes as much in DX, but yeah, I guess they're going back to these, which they had in the prototype system, so that's interesting. We'll be talking more about a lot of the G stuff and or the God Cap stuff in a discussion, which I'll be getting to hopefully like within a week or two. But anyway, so yeah. This is everything that comes in the box. This is our new season, so very, very exciting. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this all built and stickered up, test it out for a while, and then I'll be back to talk about everything. So, yeah. Alright, so I do have Dragurt G all put together, stickered up, and tested. And here it is. This is, of course, in the kind of, I guess, grip mode. And yeah, I'm just putting it like this for now, just to show it off. Kind of as a more normal Bottleman before we get to kind of the crazier gimmicks. And yeah, here's what it looks like. And I'm gonna be honest, I think this mode sucks. I will explain why. But it does look kind of cool. Also, this piece right here, you could honestly just take off. I just left it there because, I mean, otherwise, like, what are you gonna do with it? So, this moving piece, you could just take off, put elsewhere if you want to. But yeah, anyway. I will say, yeah, it does look cool. I do like how the blue looks here. It looks nice, and the problem basically is just that when you hold it, these are not stable enough. And if I were to like put more pressure, you could just see like those fall immediately, and just fell off. They don't stay on very well, and that's fine. Like I guess I wish I would have made it stand a little bit better, but I mean, if you're just gonna like store this or something, maybe you want it to take up a little less space from the front. You know what? It works fine. But yeah, I would recommend if you're gonna shoot it without the big cap mode, I would recommend just shooting it like this. Just, yeah, like this. However, there's a problem with this. Actually, not a problem just like this, but just shooting this thing in general has a problem, unfortunately. So every once in a while, we get a Bottleman that has a quality control issue where a lot of them, or all of them, in this case, I don't know if it's all of them, but I have heard many reports. Both my Dragurt G and my Cobalt Bottle G have this issue. Again, have heard other reports as well. This arm, this left arm, it just doesn't like to stay on. You can maybe see it like moving a little bit more than like, you know, this one would. Yeah, you can definitely see that. And yeah. So when you're shooting, it doesn't, it's not like a Fusion Black or like a CC Leon head issue or anything, but I notice a lot of times if I shoot a few shots, even if I'm just trying my best to like be careful, it will eventually just come off. So yeah, we have a quality control issue on the very first Bottleman of Bottleman God Cap. That's not a good sign. And unfortunately, there are more issues with God Cap, but I will be saving that for the discussion. I want to take a little bit more time to get acquainted with those, but I will likely be moving that discussion up because originally I was going to save it for like 1 to 2 weeks. I want to do that a little bit sooner. Probably no later than that 1 week mark, so I want to make sure to have that out very soon, maybe even within the next couple days, because there are some issues here, but again, reserve those for that video, at least for the most part. This trigger works fine, but I have noticed when using it with the, well, I guess I'll save that, never mind. This trigger works fine, I guess. It's different than the, other style ones from DX, but yeah. It does make assembly a bit worse, unfortunately, but yeah, it works fine, I guess. Really the only two problems are this arm here, and also, so the hold parts are actually different power hold parts than we've gotten before. This is a unique mold, however, there is this problem. Again, this is a general issue, but I still feel like I need to mention it, not just in the God Cap video, but just in this video right here. I don't know how to explain it well, but kind of when you shoot, there was this level of smoothness with DX that was not present in the prototype line, and is no longer present. It's definitely a lot crunchier, I guess you would say. And part of that is actually due to the caps, which I'll get into in a moment, but even using like the caps that you would have gotten like in a DX line of Bottleman, like one of the Vietnamese ones, which I will get into the difference in a minute, it still has that crunch to it a little bit. Not as bad, but yeah, these are a little bit worse quality in my opinion. Also the plastic. This is a little bit more contentious. I'm not trying to, go too far here, and I want to maybe a little bit more opinions, I guess, a few more opinions before I talk about that in the discussion, but I feel like this plastic seems a little bit worse. But yeah, anyway, back to Dragurt G. Yeah, this thing, it shoots powerfully enough at the very least. Even though there's a little bit of crunch I don't like, it still shoots pretty strong. There's that, it's nice. Speaking of, you do get, of course, the cap here, a red cap, and the reasons why I wanted to mention the Vietnamese versus Chinese thing. DX was produced, and just a lot of Bottlemen in general was just produced in Vietnam. I think most of them. I think Dragurt G was not, but most of them were produced in Vietnam. Those had better molds, specifically for the caps. These have like wider like ridges, which makes it really crunchy. And when you have again these worse hold parts, just kind of a worse mold in general that we've seen for Bottleman God Cap so far. These two things together do not mix well. They're very crunchy. It's basically like shooting a prototype Bottleman in my opinion, and I don't like that. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. But yeah, this thing, in terms of power though, does shoot decently well. I'd say maybe comparable to like 10 Satan DX. Definitely no Colomar Energy DX or anything like that, but it still shoots pretty nicely, I would say. So you know what, it's not bad in that regard. Just has some quality control issues. Now the one thing about these caps here, they're a bit different, of course, in this season. And okay, there we go. I don't know why I struggled with that, but you get two things with this Bottleman in particular. We have the cap weight, which goes inside of this cap, and also this big cap that you put everything else inside of. So anyway, I'm actually going to be busting out the scale for once. I have kind of not used this for Bottleman, and come on, is it out of? Okay, there we go. Might need to change the battery in that. Anyway, so I haven't really touched this for Bottleman, and unfortunately, due to the lighting, it is hard to see. But I guess you can kind of see that a little bit. But I will read out the numbers anyway. So a normal cap that we get in here is 2.61 grams. Now, this cap weight, at first, it might not seem like it does much, but it does two things. I'll get to the second one later, but this first one is that it actually has a lot of weight to it. It has 2.96. It's heavier than the base cap itself, which is actually kind of wild. So, if you're shooting this shot with the weight inside, it's actually 5.58 grams. It is significantly heavier than a normal cap, so that actually does add quite a bit of weight. This big cap piece is 4.2 grams. So obviously that's going to be heavy. And when you're using that in conjunction with a normal cap, obviously, 6.81, which is very heavy and also much larger. And if you put a weight inside of that as well, you're sitting at 9.78 grams. This is again much larger and significantly heavier than normal caps. So I did want to bust out the scale for that because I definitely wanted to highlight just how much heavier these caps are. Unfortunately, these are the Chinese mold ones that you get in here, but yeah, I guess if you get older caps, you could do some stuff with that, but like, it still sucks that I have to kind of refer back to older stuff to make these better. That just shouldn't be happening. Especially after, what, 2.5 years of Bottleman? They really stepped up their game with DX. I don't know why they're going back with some of this stuff now. I don't know why it's like that. Anyway, so one thing to note here is that when you put in this weighted cap, obviously it doubles the weight. Actually, a little bit more than doubles the weight. And if I could get this thing going, there we go. So what this does is it not only increases the weight, but it also increases tension a bit. So before, obviously caps aren't really going to, push in a ton. They're pretty hard plastic. But when, you're going through, power hold parts or something like that, or any hold parts, if there's enough resistance, it might squeeze in slightly. And with this kind of being inside of there, that will be further decreased because obviously, more of a kind of a second layer inside. You got these, lines that'll keep it pushed outward better. So now there's actually going to be slightly more tension, also more weight. These caps, they shoot pretty well. They're definitely a little bit slower and they drop off a bit easier, but again, do have a lot more weight behind them. So you're going to get more strength, but it's a little bit more like a bowling ball where it just kind of, I've noticed, likes to kind of touch the ground pretty quickly and just kind of slides, at least to some extent. Definitely quicker than a normal cap. But again, you do have a lot of weight, so it still works pretty well. I'll probably eventually make a video on these caps and just all of these different types of caps. But I feel like right now it's a little bit hard to make proper judgment on these. But for now, I think they're really good. I guess I just wish that the base caps were a little bit better here. Again, Chinese molds are just not as good. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate. But yeah, hopefully they switch back to the Vietnamese ones. Those were a lot better, but I guess time will tell. However, of course, I haven't even gotten to the main gimmick of this thing yet, which is wild. We're already almost 10 minutes in. Actually, counting the earlier part of the video, we are over 10 minutes in, but anyway. The main point of this Bottleman is its big cap launcher. You take these two parts that I had in the back at the start of the video, and of course you have to put them together, which is a little bit awkward, and doesn't really go together. I feel like once you push it in there, it goes together, but like on the outside it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, or if I just am stupid. Very possible, but I tend to be able to get it in correctly once it's actually inside of the Bottleman. So yeah. Anyways, pushing everything in. I think that's not incorrect, but let me just, wait, am I incorrectly? Not quite. Okay, let me actually just take this off camera for a second. Alright, I think I just had a little bit misaligned. Anyway, so yeah, the big cap launcher thing, this thing, I feel like it doesn't stay in, like it stays in fine, but I don't know, I just feel like it's like slightly weird. And one of the problems I have with this thing is that when you shoot, sometimes this trigger jams a little bit. Yeah, sometimes it like gets a little bit, you can kind of see like it doesn't fully go in properly. And I have had times when I'm shooting where it just gets stuck and I just like pull out a little bit, which isn't that big of a deal, but still, it's annoying. This whole big cap launcher, I feel like it was just such a jank design. I don't like it at all. And yeah, when you're shooting, you shoot the cap out, and you kind of see this piece move up, it doesn't go back in. You have to manually push it back in when you're reloading. Again, I just don't like that. It just doesn't, like, I know it's not the biggest deal. It's supposed to be like a big cap launcher, like a special piece or whatever, but like, it's just like, come on. I feel like it could have been a little bit more intuitive. I almost would have rather just had them make a really wide core or something for this, but I guess not. Anyway, and you just kind of put this cap in here, and you're good to go. To load it, you just like set this kind of on the top. If I can, okay, I'm just having a bad time with this thing right now. Anyway, normally this thing is like not that hard to load. I also bind a tripod, so it's a little bit more awkward, but yeah. Basically, you're supposed to load it from the top here, and if I could load it? No? Okay, there we go. Yeah, again, this thing's not actually that hard to load. I know seem like a struggle, but trust me, it's really not that bad. Anyway, this is one thing I will give it credit for. Surprisingly, for loading, it's not bad. I have some other criticisms, but to load it, yeah, no, it's not too bad. Unfortunately, it is a front loader, so you have to reach forward, put this thing in there. Sometimes it is a little bit finicky as well. Usually nowhere near as bad as it might have just seemed, but yeah, so is it worth the trouble though of, changing up how you're going to load the Bottleman, changing up a lot of stuff? Of course you also need a big cap for it. Is it worth the trouble, basically? In my opinion, no. Um, I think it does well. Like, it's a big cap. Okay, it's cool. But it just, again, it's a big cap, but it doesn't do enough, in my opinion. Like, it just kind of falls down, and it does, like, kind of slide across the ground, and again, does have kind of that bowling ball effect, but, it is wider as well. That's the one thing I will give it credit for, is, it's a wider cap. So you are getting more coverage, but I'd rather just have pure power. Again, something like Colomar Energy DX, I just prefer. This thing, it's a fun thing to mess with for sure, though. Like that's easy to say. It shoots okay, though. I will give it again some credit for. It doesn't have a ton of power, but it doesn't need a ton of power. It's just a giant cap. If you add a weight into this thing, though, which I do actually have inside there right now, it does kind of make the cap drop off even more. Again, you're talking about a near 10-gram cap. So really, it just feels a little bit awkward, I think. I kind of prefer it without that weighting. Because again, I feel like it's a little bit better to just have a little bit more, velocity going, a little bit better strength from the trigger itself. And still getting the big cap effect, just not completely weighted down, because that thing really will fall. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. I don't think it was the best executed thing. Again, I think that this launcher is just jank as hell. I don't like it. I wish they would have had a better system for it. At least something that just springs back a little bit better. Because man, this thing just doesn't. But yeah, it's something. I guess it's an interesting idea. We'll see if they expand upon this later in the season, but I don't know for now. But yeah, that's mostly everything I have to say about Dragurt G. It's definitely a far cry from what we got in previous seasons. Of course, the main kind of starting Bottleman of the original was Kolomaru, and that was a much more basic Bottleman. Just had the drive strip going for it. This is a much different one. Even with DX, like Kolomaru DX, this thing was, again, just a drive strip, pretty basic introduction to DX. This thing is something else. So, yeah. Overall, though, outside of the God Cap issues, this thing definitely struggles a bit. Again, the quality control of the arm, I don't know if that's a God Cap issue that we might be seeing more frequently, or if it's just this thing. Still sucks regardless, and I just don't like the cap launcher at all, man. I like the big cap thing. It's just not great. Again, I wish they'd have put a little bit more effort into it. Because, yeah, I don't know. I just think it could be better, and we'll see if they improve upon it. I actually hope they do. Even though this was a little bit of a stupid idea, the big caps aren't, like, crazy powerful or anything, in my opinion. I hope they do give it a second try. That'd be cool to see. But yeah, that's basically all to say about this thing. For now, if I have anything else, I might do like a follow-up discussion. If I ever figure out more about these, or again, especially for the caps. I do want to make a discussion on the actual caps, so yeah, we'll see. But for now, that's everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.